welcome to Horror Culture Trash Over, the show that discusses all of the masterpieces and trashterpieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
Thinking about that introduction, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we discussed the trashterpiece?
Yes.
We spoke about so many good films this year.
Yeah, it's been... Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but...
Yeah, no, this is rare. This is very rare.
I can't remember any
This is what happens when we do themes where we purposely pick good films.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of trash coming next month that you picked. Musicals month.
Oh, of course,
and
yes.
It's definitely going to be trash the month after. But anyway, we're not here to talk about trash today. For the rest of this month, at least, we are talking about good films. And sadly, today we are not joined by the Unbound and Rewound Horror Podcast as planned. Avery could not make it due to an illness, so we wish her all the best. And we look forward to having her on another episode in the future.
Absolutely.
Discussions are already in place for Pride Month next year and for us going back on Unbound and Rewound as well, so look forward to that. Before we get into today's film, which was picked by Avery, and we've stuck with it, we are going to have a catch-up. What's new with Chris and Gary?
Yes. Best and best of the week. Best of the week. We're talking about having a great run of films for Pride Month. Films you can really be proud of. Which is good, isn't it? And we've had a few this week. Very, very good. My favourite is... And it was very close.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gone with The Beast.
That is also my favourite of the week.
Yes. Fantastic. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it there because I definitely... And I know it's a cliche, but it's one of those films where you should go into it blind.
Yeah.
You should go into it blind, not knowing what to expect, because it's another cliche, but it's true. Very Lynchian,
yes,
in many ways, and it's to be experienced.
Yeah, if you like David Lynch, if you like David Cronenberg, then...
If you like David Duchovny.
Well, there's something there for you. If you don't like art house, if you don't like surrealism, stay away. But if you do like weird shit like we do, go and see it. Yeah.
And that's not to say that it's completely out there. It's not completely surrealist to a certain degree. You can follow what they're trying to say. Yeah. But it is a heavy reliance on surrealism. Yeah, of course. It's fairly lengthy.
It's like I said, it's kind of like... Good. Yeah. Speaking of David, I mean, like Brandon Cronenberg as well. It's like Possessor, Crimes of the Future, Mulholland Drive, and Southland Tales merged into one.
Yes.
So take from that what you will. For the second best of the week, I don't know if you have the same, but mine is Inside Out 2.
It is Inside Out 2. One of the best double bills we've had at the cinema in a very long time.
Yeah.
Love the original Inside Out. I'm a huge fan of Pixar films. I haven't seen them all, actually.
No.
But pretty much everyone I've seen I've loved, so I don't know why I haven't seen more. But loved the original Inside Out. This one is just as good as the original. Does pretty much the same thing, and I'm not mad at that. I want to see that. I want to see that progression with this character from the first film. It adds to it, but does pretty much the same thing, and I loved it. Heartwarming. Genuinely quite sad at times, and really just one of those family-friendly films that I probably wouldn't recommend to small children.
No.
To a certain degree, it has the bright colours and the wacky characters at times, but what I feel the film was really about was a very heartwarming, emotional... story of a young girl that we can all relate to.
Yeah, no, this definitely did that thing that Pixar does where they make films for adults and children at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this probably does it the best out since Toy Story 3, where it's kind of like, no, this is definitely that way around. It is made for adults. Kids can go see it as well.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Has some great writing in there as well. It's definitely a must watch. And honorable mentions, we have Intimate Confessions of a Chinese Courtesan.
Now, this would have taken the top spot if we hadn't have been to the cinema that day.
Yeah.
If we'd watched those films in a week's time, Intimate Confessions of a Chinese Courtesan really caught me off guard. Shaw Brothers film that from the early 70s that depicts a lesbian relationship, really. And it isn't completely offensive.
No, and coming from, a Hong Kong film in the 70s, that's fucking rare.
Yeah.
And it's handled really well, even if one of them's a villain. But it is, top tier girl boss cinema.
Yeah.
And definitely one that was on Quentin Tarantino's radar when he was making Kill Bill.
Yes, yeah. It's got all the wonderful stuff that you expect from a Shaw Brothers martial arts film. Great fight scenes involving two really cunty women.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great.
Another film very ahead of its time, The Cannibal Man, which again 70s depicts a gay character in a positive light, and then a serial killer debating whether he's gay or not.
It's straight. It's up for interpretation. I feel, which is good.
Definitely a really, really great film. Great character study. Very Henry portrait of a serial killer.
Is it a spoiler to say that the Week of the Killer, which is the other title for the film,
a little more accurate,
is a lot more accurate than Cannibal Man.
Young Soul Rebels was really good.
That was fantastic. Really, really, really enjoyed that. To see the Black British gay culture in a film from 1991.
Yeah.
That seemed like it had a bit of a budget behind it as well. Fantastic performances. Really, really enjoyed the spirit of it. It was strangely a murder mystery for some reason. But I love the characters. I really fell in love with the characters.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And clearly our theme this week has been ahead of their time, queer films. Because Desert Hearts as well thoroughly deserves a mention. A film that is made by a woman, and she did everything she could to get this made. Donna Deitch, she, went through studio executives, had a messy time, but she got it made, and it is bold, daring, and really sweet throughout a lot of it. Fantastic performances that would have got Oscars if it was a Hetty film.
Absolutely. Marketed as some sort of saucy lesbian sex film. Kind of the way the courtesan film, the Intimate Confessions of a Chinese Courtesan, was also advertised as this lesbian sex film. Actually, a really beautiful character study, wonderful depiction of a lesbian, out and proud lesbian who actually doesn't take shit from anyone when it comes to her sexuality, and it's fantastic. Loved it.
And another few that I maybe enjoyed a little more than Chris. Bonus track, Kate Winslet's son is gay in a Heartstopper ripoff. That's fine, but it's really sweet, and I just encourage everyone to watch it because I'm glad films like this exist. I know teenage me would have been obsessed. Secret in a Blue Room, I thought was a really intense gay thriller. I thought it's just gay erotic thrillers. We don't have enough of them. Again, make more of these. And Gunjayam Haunted Asylum, which is a Korean found footage film. And as you know from listening to Found Footage Month, I love found footage. This is fucking top tier, and I can't believe I hadn't watched it until now, until Second Sight sent us a copy. Shout out to Second Sight. But there were scenes in this where I was really creeped out.
Yeah, it was it found footage and kind of it didn't break too much new
It hasn't got an
ground,
original bone in its body,
but it didn't need
no.
to. I thought the characters were funny and
Mm.
interesting, and the scares, some of them were really. It's one of those films that lures you maybe into a false sense of
Yeah.
security with the humor,
Mm-hmm.
and then shit hits the fan, and you're like, oh my god, this okay, they're taking this part seriously.
Yeah.
Sometimes works, and it did in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good, very good.
Yeah. And that brings us to speaking of films I enjoyed more than Chris. That brings us to this week's podcast episode. Uh,
Seriously, okay,
that was a good one.
That is a very good one. Spoiler alert: half a star difference if we're looking at Letterboxd.
Did you have anything to say about bonus track or Secret in the Blue Room?
They're fine.
There we go.
If you read the plot summary and it sounds like your kind of thing, then watch it.
Yeah. Spoiler warning is now in effect, and we're going back to the 80s this week, a time where we had so many great horror comedies that feel like they are the embodiment of a pop song. You just enjoy them so much. There's something so enjoyable about them. I'm thinking The Monster Squad, Night of the Creeps, The Lost Boys, even stuff like The Goonies, and just these fantastic teen comedies with bits of horror in it. I mean, The Goonies wasn't, but you get what I mean. Fright Night, can you think of any? I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, Jason Lives. So many of these films that are kind of like the MTV era. Really cool soundtracks, great fashion, great cast, camp as tits, and
always filmed like a music video.
Great cinematography. And today's film is one of those films. It is Vamp from the year 1986. Obviously, there's one part of Vamp that everyone knows, and I'm not going to discuss it now, but I will say 2 words, a name, Grace Jones.
Yes. Vamp is Grace Jones.
Yeah.
Without Grace Jones, we wouldn't be sat here talking about Vamp. I can assure you of that.
It's true. So it's written and directed by Richard Wenk, who directed Dracula Bites the Big Apple.
Dracula.
I wish. Dracula Bites the Big Apple. It's a short film. Attack of the 5'2" Women. An episode of Sweet Valley High, Just the Ticket, and Witchcraft.
Oh, Witchcraft definitely looks like our kind of thing.
He's the writer of 16 Blocks, The Mechanic, The Expendables 2, The Equalizer trilogy, Countdown, The Magnificent Seven, Jack Reacher, Never Go Back, Renegades, The Protege, Fast Charlie, and Just a Ticket. So did quite a few action films.
Okay. I'm not going to lie, I was in my research trying to figure out if he was a queer filmmaker, because it is Pride Month.
Yeah.
And then I was seeing The Equalizer 2, 3, Jack Reacher, The Mechanic, 16 Blocks. I was a bit, okay. Expendables 2, maybe he's not gay.
Bisexual. Co-written by Donald...
He's writing Lethal Weapon 5.
Oh, nice.
Directed by Mel Gibson.
Oh, not so nice. Co-written by Donald P. Borchers, who did Streetwise and Children of the Corn 2009. Sorry to hear that. Also a producer on Moonbase, Little Witches, Number One Fan, Leprechaun 2, Angel.
Oh, love Angel.
The original Children of the Corn, Crimes of Passion.
Nice.
Demolitionist, and more.
Wow.
Now, if anyone...
That's... and Tough Turf.
Yeah.
Starring Kim Richards.
If anyone's homosexual on the making of this film... we don't want to assume, but it's definitely...
We don't want to make assumptions, but...
Definitely someone whose name begins with D. And then an O, then an N, then an A, then an L.
We hope everyone's on our team. Everyone's invited.
Budget $3.3 million, and it only made $4.9 million worldwide. It is a cult film.
It's a big flop.
And many viewers argue that Vamp heavily influenced From Dusk Till Dawn. from the setting of a strip club to the sexy dance performance put on by the lead female character in each respective film. Vamp, of course, has a story of two fraternity pledges looking to find a stripper at the After Dark Club, which is home to a group of stripper vampires, whereas From Dusk Till Dawn tells the story of two fugitive bank robbing brothers who are fleeing the FBI as well as the Texas police and end up at the Titty Twister, a strip club in the middle of a desolate part of Mexico, which, in comparison to Vamp, is home to a group of Aztec stripper vampires. Yeah. Little convenient there, Mr. Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
especially Quentin Tarantino.
Let's be fair.
Writer Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, we
who could definitely watch Vamp.
We could say that about so many of his films.
Yeah, but he does it good. So, and From Dusk Till Dawn's a great film.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like both the same amount. I think they're just as good as each other.
I think so. Yeah.
Shall we talk about who is in this?
Yeah, in a section we like to call "Hey, are you Michelle Pfeiffer's sister?"
She is. We'll get to her shortly. She could have been Madonna, for all I knew. Chris Makepeace as Keith. He was in Meatballs, My Bodyguard, The Last Chase, A Holiday for Love, Full Disclosure, Aloha Summer, Captive Hearts, Mazes and Monsters, The Oasis, and more. I do have a confession to make.
Yeah.
Back when I first watched this, I kind of wished Chris Makepeace was my bodyguard.
Oh.
Taking me on a holiday for love.
Oh, wow.
And showing me Full Disclosure. And captivating my heart.
Did you have a little thing for Chris Makepeace?
I think Chris Makepeace is really hot in this. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else, actually.
Yeah, cool.
She's just got really nice eyes.
I'm more of a Robert Russler fan.
I think there's an argument here for the three leads in this film being the three most attractive leads from any 80s film.
Potentially.
Like,
absolutely.
Even Geddy Watanabe, the three of them, great casting. This is definitely made for the gays.
Yeah.
Especially with how it starts, but again, that's something we'll get into a little later. But yeah, no, there's just something about Chris Makepeace. Maybe I have a thing for Chris's. Who knows?
Maybe.
But I think he's great. I think he's really, really funny, and I think again, we'll get into it. Robert Russler is AJ. He is, of course, Ron Grady in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Weird Science, Thrashing, Sometimes They Come Back, Murder, She Wrote, The Manor, Pretty Boy in recent years, and more.
Yeah.
He's made a living in a certain genre.
Shall I do the same thing?
Go on.
Well, get up his IMDb, and this will make more sense.
He'll have a nightmare in your Elm Street.
Give me the whole 10 yards. Because he's a pretty boy.
The whole 10 yards? Was he in that?
Yes. I can't do it. No. I can't do it.
It's a talent that only some of us have. It's fine.
Thrashing. He was in Thrashing. We could be Thrashing. And I won't be unwilling for our final embrace. There we go.
Well done. We got there eventually. Of course, as we know from what we've already mentioned,
Wait, no, sometimes they come back.
Wow.
That could work.
Wow. As we've already mentioned, the Grace Jones is Katrina. Katrina.
Gary. I just realised what that was. It was a hi, my name's Katrina.
She does bring the hurricane bitch in this film.
She does.
She's in A View to Kill, Conan the Destroyer, Boomerang, Chelsea on the Rocks, Wolf Girl, Cyber Bandits, Straight to Hell, Siesta, Deadly Vengeance, and more, as well as, of course, having a 10 out of 10 music career as well. I fucking love Grace Jones so much.
I keep saying it, and I keep meaning it for different people. Who was it? It was Nathan Lane. Who else I say was a singular talent?
There was someone. Susan Tyrrell.
Susan Tyrrell. Yeah. Grace Jones is a singular talent. There is no one on this planet like Grace Jones.
No.
No one. So many people say, "Oh, that she's Grace Jones-esque," or "He's
Yeah.
Grace Jones-esque." But there is one. There is one Grace Jones to look as beautiful as she does,
Mm-hmm.
to be as cool as she
Yeah.
is, to have the music career that she did,
Yeah.
and that, like Gary said, 10 out of 10 music,
Mm-hmm.
to then be able to act and perform. I mean, do you remember when she performed for the Queen?
Mm-hmm.
She hula hooped for the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
thing. I mean, no one can do that. No one's on that level.
She was cunty as hell in A View to Kill as well, which you
Oh,
haven't seen yet.
I haven't. No,
She doesn't speak a single word in this film.
no.
It was her idea. She wanted to do it with silent film techniques inspired by Max Schreck in Nosferatu. And her vampire makeup is based off of Pris from Blade Runner. And Tina Turner was originally considered for this role.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Would have been good, but it wouldn't have been any Grace Jones because it's just another level. And she is the biggest scene stealer in this film, and she's only in it for like what 20 minutes maximum,
Yeah.
if that.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. So much of the marketing, it's called Vamp for fuck's sake. So much of the marketing is of Grace Jones, and she's not a lead.
No.
She doesn't sometimes doesn't even feel like the main antagonist. Which is a damn shame.
Yeah.
Because she steals every scene. The physicality that she has.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it.
It's bizarre because this film is a Meatballs, Porky's, National Lampoon's Animal House style sex comedy. But with vampires thrown in, and of course Grace Jones being the most recognisable one out of everyone there, and she makes it work. She really makes. I think she brings that MTV feeling to it.
Yes.
But yeah, there's one scene in particular that we are probably going to talk about for quite some time. So we'll move on to another country queen for now. Dee Dee Pfeiffer is Alison / Amaretto. She was in Falling Down, Sybil, The All-Nighter, Frankie and Johnny, House Free, The Horror Show, Murder, She Wrote, Mia's Father, Fix, Alien vs. Hunter, and more. Again, you know, Dee Dee Pfeiffer is a massive reason why this works. She is so cool and charismatic and funny. It's given After Hours, the Arquette that was in After Hours, Rosanna Arquette. Yes. It's given that, but she's given Madonna. She's given Sky Ferreira now. But you know, she turned up on time to act. But it's, you know, yeah, she's just really good, and I don't think people talk about her enough in this film. I really, really think it's a great performance.
Yeah, she does a good job.
She's that sort of quirky 80s slay.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Rosanna Arquette in Desperately Seeking Susan as well.
Yeah,
she's giving Rosanna Arquette. Basically.
I mean, she's that girl. She is that 80s.
It girl.
Yeah, where it's kind of you can't tell if she is being portrayed as an airhead or not.
Yeah,
and then she's not.
Mm-hmm.
And she, spoiler alert, makes it till the end and such. Yeah, fine performance.
And we have Ged Watanabe as Duncan, who you will know for his problematic performance in 16 Candles, UHF, Parental Guidance, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Alfie, Kung Fu Panda 4 this year, Slackers, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and more. Again, another great performance. It's a good cast in this film. It's a really good cast. I like Ged Watanabe. I think he's a good actor. He's never really the leading man. It's just a shame. It's really unfortunate that he was given that part in 16 Candles.
I think that, yeah, unfortunately there's a case for him being the token Asian character personified in 16 Candles.
Yeah, which I guess I it isn't entirely his fault, because at the end of the day, if that's the only work he could get back then,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, of
and
course.
obviously
You know, we
the
would
ones to blame
never.
the most of that are the writer and director.
Absolutely, and Hollywood in general
Mm-hmm.
for creating those sort of characters, because he isn't the only one that suffered from that,
Mm.
particularly in the 80s, 90s, and we're still not perfect in that
No,
sense in films. Much better, but yeah, it's yeah. If you haven't seen 16
don't
Candles,
watch it.
yeah.
That's probably the least problematic thing in the film.
Yeah,
There's so much
there's a
wrong with
lot
16
there's a lot of
Candles.
stuff that has not aged very well at all in
Yeah.
16 Candles.
It's not even a case of well, we're not meant to like that character anyway. No, some of the protagonists in that film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Anyway,
yeah.
as we're talking about Vamp.
Do you have anyone else?
No, I haven't. No.
Then let's talk about what makes this gay. So for me, the entire tone of the film just feels so camp and gay.
Mhm.
What about you?
I think as an 80s vampire film,
Mm-hmm.
I think you automatically go towards the vampires being
An
an
allegory. Yeah.
allegory for homosexuals or for the AIDS
Yeah.
um, crisis.
Yeah.
I think any vampire film in the 80s has that
Mm-hmm.
straight away. Just by its existence, we
Yeah.
look at it in that sense. So I think absolutely we could look at the vampires as the queer community,
Mm-hmm.
as gay.
They are a chosen family in the film,
Mm.
essentially, as well. They all stick together. And there's little different areas of them, different little gangs, which kind of gives drag family.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there is a quote at one point, and we'll speak about it later, which I think alludes to them being seen as homosexuals
Yeah.
as well, as an allegory for homosexuality.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's very camp.
The camera lingers on the male body with great detail,
Mm.
longer than your standard horror film with supposedly straight characters.
Yeah.
The AJ and Katrina makeout scene feels really queer, but it's with a man and a woman.
Yeah.
But that's because of the way it's filmed. Like, really, like it always clicked with me. There's always something bit different about this film, in the same way that Nightmare on Elm Street 2 did. Obviously, elsewhere it's not as in your face as Nightmare on Elm Street 2, but there are just certain things. Like, I feel like Keith comes across a lot as though he has feelings for AJ. Like, he's really attached to him in a way that kind of goes a little bit beyond. And he takes so long before he kisses Dee Dee Pfeiffer. Like, it takes a long time, and he's constantly like trying to push her aside.
He's questioning.
Yeah.
I think also Grace Jones has always towed the line between masculinity and femininity. Very famous for her androgyny.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very deliberate choice.
Yeah.
As well, within the film, because she's very made up. But also has that androgyny that Grace Jones brings to everything. Yeah. So I think that plays into that as well, and her making out with the AJ character, and yeah, I think there's a lot, and also the most iconic look in the film is because of a gay man.
Yeah. Yeah. So she does the famous dance on a chair that was made by her friend, the late graffiti artist Kifarin.
Yes.
Yeah, it's iconic, and essentially, Grace Jones is in drag.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, made up, full face of bright white makeup, a wig.
Yeah,
frazzled, but a wig, bright red wig.
Yeah. Has someone done this on Drag Race? I feel like they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Nymphia Wind.
Yeah.
Did it this
so.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nymphia Wind, and it looked fantastic.
It did. But back to what I was saying about the whole AJ and Keith thing. Well, let's be honest, this won't be the first time that a twink has lusted over Robert Rustler in an 80s horror film involving someone having a villain take over their body.
Yeah.
Everyone's favourite subgenre. But yes, I'm sure we'll have more to say about it, and let's talk about our feature presentation.
Ever have one of those nights?
This is fantastic!
Ever have one of those nights?
Oh, we jumpy tonight.
Ever have one of those nights?
We be looking for ya.
Grace Jones will show you one in Vamp, rated R.
We're introduced to college students Keith and AJ as they're in the process of being sacrificed by the D-Sci-Fi campus frat guys.
Yeah, we open with the bell tolling and two young, scantily clad men being hung within the windows of a medieval church. Not in that way.
Well, I mean, it's not difficult to see considering AJ is in a small, tight pair of underwear.
He was definitely typecast.
Yeah.
Definitely, I don't know, in his contract to get his himself in some short shorts or some undergarments.
They kind of toe the line between briefs and boxers. I'm not quite sure what.
Yeah, if I remember Freddy's Revenge, we've seen it about 50 times. If I remember that, he was in some short shorts, wasn't he, when he died?
Yes. They're about to be hung by nooses until the big theatrical setup goes wrong. During this scene, the tape that the executioner is lip syncing to is a speech by none other than Christopher Plummer.
Oh.
Who provided it for the film.
Nice.
There we go.
Good for him.
Keith and AJ want
He did
to...
struggle a little bit, didn't he? Sort of after The Sound of Music and before, was it Beginners when he won his Oscar?
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Christopher Plummer.
But he's a man, so it's not exploitation. He gets to do cool things like cool speeches on tapes.
Yeah.
Keith and AJ want to hire a stripper to bribe their way into D-Sci-Fi so they can move out of their cramped, noisy dorm room and into the frat's house. And at this point, we have a lot of AJ, a lot of Keith going on about, oh no, it's fine, just me and you here, it's fine. We don't need them. We don't need to get a stripper. We don't need to. And it's like, okay.
We get the impression that they both believe that they're above pretty much everyone else.
They do, yeah.
It's giving yuppie.
Yeah.
But seemingly they don't have any money, so they can't be yuppies. AJ takes his shirts very seriously. Doesn't like them getting crinkled or creased or anything like that. But they're a couple of snobs.
Yeah.
It's almost like two characters from a Bret Easton Ellis novel. Like they think they're above everyone else, and they have to get this stripper, not because they want to see a stripper, but because they want to get out of their, dormitory.
Yeah.
Everyone's going wild outside, and they're above all that. So when they get to the frat house, which is much nicer, then they can live the lavish life on campus that they feel they deserve.
So they borrow a Cadillac from a lonely rich student, Duncan, who insists on coming with them to scope out strip clubs in a nearby city if they pretend to be his friend for a week.
Yeah, a bit sad, really, actually.
It is a bit sad.
He says, take me with you and pretend to be my friends for a week.
Yeah.
He's like, pretend to be my friends, and then they're like thinking about it for a month, for a week.
Yeah.
It was actually a bit sad. I actually kind of felt sorry for him. And spoiler alert, he dies as well.
He does.
So, very sad character. All that money, but no friends.
Yeah.
Money can't buy you class.
Life lesson.
Money can't buy you pals.
No, apparently not. They they make their way to a strip club whilst Keith and AJ sing "Bad Case of Loving You" Dr. Doctor by Robert Palmer at each other.
Doctor.
That's what it's called. Brackets Dr. Doctor.
Brackets Dr. Well, AJ and Keith, they get into some trouble, don't they, with three locals after Keith laughs at an attractive young woman's teeth. So she's having a little flirt. Keith's enjoying it though.
Yeah.
Keith is enjoying it. He's still trying to figure himself out. And she smiles, and she's she's in need of urgent dentistry.
She is in need of urgent dentistry. The gang is led by an albino guy called Snow.
That's very 80s.
That's very 80s. And do you know what else is very 80s?
Mm.
Their outfits. They're dressed in leather, and it's really fucking cool.
Yeah. If we're looking at this in terms of, because Snow and the gang, they, well, I don't know all their individual names, so it's Snow's
Snow
gang.
and the gang.
Snow and the gang. If they're vampires,
Yeah.
If they're vampires, then Keith is attracted to a vampire. So then, could we look at the attractive young woman as potentially a drag queen, or you know, the same way that we could see, and we may be thinking too much into these things, but it's Pride Month, so
it's Pride Month,
let's squeeze out every bit of queerness we can from these films.
I think so. I love that they're at the OK Cafe.
Yeah,
we don't want to set the bar too high with our name. It's not great cafe, but it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, this slave vampire, she's sucking off a sweet. It causes a fight when she shows her teeth, and it's a camp fight. AJ holds onto Snow's balls for an extended period of time.
Yeah,
and then they have a dance.
Yeah, Snow says, "I think I'm going to let Maven here cut one of your balls off." AJ saves the day by squeezing Snow's balls. Hey. Yeah. Snowballs.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's the 80s. Testicular-based humour was always the winner, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
it
just anything within that general area, the balls, the dick, the shaft, the corona, all that business.
Yes. The corona. Never heard that before.
Have you not?
No. Well, the free...
Google it.
Not right now. The Free Boys...
Go on private and Google it, everyone.
The Free Boys then find themselves at the After Dark Club in a shady part of town where hard-hatted Hannah is doing a sleigh dance.
Yes.
And when she finishes, the guy introducing them all is like, builder of major erections, our construction engineer, hard-hatted Hannah.
Yes, the Tramp of Savannah.
Oh my god, what a queen.
I find that, and I don't know if this was true to real life, but in so many 80s films, strippers had to have a costume. Like it's never just, here's my sexy outfit. Some of them are, but it's like, here's a construction worker, here's a biker lady, biker chick, here's a police officer. I wonder why. Why is that?
I have no idea.
Do you think straight men
have a lot of fantasies, clearly?
No, I don't think it's just a female stripper thing.
Oh,
I think
male
male strippers, firemen, police officers.
Yeah.
I think it's just a stripper thing in general.
Yeah. To be fair, I can't think of any other films I've seen this.
Strip to Kill? They always had some sort of...
Did they?
Yeah, they always had some sort of... I'm a snake charmer. Or
oh, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
All of that
That's
business.
true.
There was something to it.
Non-traditional outfits.
It was never just, here is a cunty outfit, I'm taking it off.
Yeah.
Like what you see.
Mhm.
It's, I'm a Judge Judy impersonator. I'm sexy Judge Judy.
That's the future right now.
I hope so.
But then...
That's not saying that Judge Judy isn't already sexy.
Okay, Judge Judy fetish.
No, but I love Judge Judy, and I would never say that she's not a beautiful woman.
Chris is coming out moment. It's bisexual for Judge Judy.
Is it not my going in moment?
No, bisexual, but the only exception is Judge Judy. Yeah, it happens next. It happens.
It happens next.
The scene happens next. The stage lights go down, and we hear, "Here comes the hurricane, bitch! Here comes the hurricane, bitch!" No, we don't. But if it was 2024, we probably would. What we do get is the song by Grace Jones.
Oh,
Vamp. which was never commercially released, but was reworked into Seduction Surrender on her 1989 album Bulletproof Heart. Um, her own song, Grace Jones, comes out and gives us a cunty, surreal, and artistic performance as Katrina. She dances around the Keith Haring chair in a red wig, white face paint, red heels, phenomenal red dress, which comes off to reveal stunning body paint and metal underwear, all whilst her own damn song plays. The place is in complete silence when it ends. And then after a minute or so, everyone launches the big round of applause. Honestly, same. Like, I was in complete silence after the first time I watched this. It's given cunty, it's given choreography, it's given outfits, it's given makeup. It's
avant-garde. It's completely out there. It's there's me saying, all the strippers have to have like a job or something. I don't know what the job here is. This is completely out there. It's so
Slaying 95.
Yeah, but it's kind of, you would never see this in a strip club.
No.
You wouldn't, because it is so avant-garde. She does a magnificent job.
Yeah.
The wig's good. It's a little frazzled, but it suits the purpose. That the spiral metal over the nipples. To her own song as well. I mean, how iconic is that?
Yeah.
The only other example I can think of is Madonna in Desperately Seeking Susan, like dancing to your own song. Like, how cunty is that in a film?
Yeah.
So good.
It really is. It really is. It's mesmerizing. It genuinely, you wouldn't, compared to the rest of the film, you wouldn't think this is in the same film. This is just on another level. This is just something else completely.
It sticks out massively because the rest of the film is almost like, an 80s bro comedy.
Yeah.
And just at the top, at the pinnacle of this film, because this is by far the best moment in the whole film. This is the moment you'll YouTube again and again for the rest of time. It sticks out like massively because it is really out there. It is, and it's totally not 80s bro comedy. Let me grab your balls.
Yeah.
Stuff.
This is for
it's
the
not
gays.
played for laughs. It's played for absolute cuntiness.
Yeah,
and it works.
This is for the gays.
It is
for the gays.
Because I don't think I think it's sexy, but I don't think it's sexual.
No,
because it's so weird. I don't think it's sexual. And I don't know. I don't know, but I don't. To me, it's not the kind of thing you would get in a strip club, which makes it so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's not to say you don't see wonderful things. You know exactly what I mean.
I made a mistake. The rest of the After Dark Club girls don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Like you give up, girls. Go home. You can't top that. But what she does top is her then boyfriend Dolph Lundgren, because the chair is modelled after him.
Yeah.
It just makes it even better. It really is.
How do you think? Do you have to sit and then they did a mould around?
Yeah, probably.
Him?
It's iconic. It's I'd say one of the top 5 biggest slayers of the 80s. It really, people should be talking about it more. It's just incredible.
This scene is the only reason we're sat here watching the film. And the film around it is fine. But this is the scene that everybody remembers. It's so iconic that all the marketing is based around this. It's this makeup and hair that is prominent on all the posters. It's the scene that stood the test of time. You could send it to your friends and say, look at this cunty thing, and they'd be like, yes, living for it. It'll probably go viral on TikTok
one
soon.
Day.
Just mesmerizing.
And the film continues after that. When AJ visits Katrina's dressing room to try to convince her to come strip for their college party, which is hilarious, by the way, that he watched that performance and he thought she'd say yes to come and strip for the bunch of people at college.
again, I get the impression that obviously they think they're above everyone else, and money would allow them to have any stripper that they wanted at the club, even the most avant-garde. I keep saying avant-garde, and it's the word I'm going to keep using, the phrase, should I say, the most out there.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Bjork hasn't done something like this.
It's true. Whilst he goes to try and convince her, a dancer called Candy takes to the stage to try and live up to what everyone just witnessed.
Poor Candy.
And the guy's like, she melts in your mouth, she melts in your hands, sweet, sweet Candy, with an eye. AJ walks around the dressing room whilst waiting for Katrina, finds a big portrait she has of herself. Understandable.
Yes.
Alongside a fish tank and some stylish neon green purple lighting that seems to be everywhere in and around the club. It's the main colour scheme of the film, and it looks so good.
Yeah, similar to what we see in the sewer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love his lighting. I mean, we don't have to have realism here.
No.
I want to see bright colours. I want this to be very 80s, very neon. I want it to really, come out the screen to me, and it works.
AJ tells Katrina how much he liked her show because it was, in his words, very new, very now.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true.
It's still very new and very now in 2024.
Yeah.
She's now dressed in stunning casual wear, and she pins him on her waterbed filled with blood and seduces him by massaging, licking, and gently biting his chest. Again, this is so gay. Like, this is... Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's erotic, but it's gay erotic. In the midst of this, she transforms into a vampire, breaks one of his arms to keep him from fighting her off, and kills him with a deep bite to the neck, which actually went beyond the latex neck in the film and actually went into Rustler's actual neck, drawing blood.
Lucky him.
Lucky him.
If it was Grace Jones doing it, lucky him.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, a physicality to Grace Jones that nobody else has. It looks fantastic. I love the sort of makeup effects on her face.
The transformation's
when
great.
she transforms into the vampire. Again, it's one of my favorite parts of the film. Seeing these cunty strippers with vampire faces.
Yeah.
I love it. Fantastic scene, and yeah, we could interpret this as AJ, having a homosexual experience. We could look at it in that way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it leads to his death and his subsequently becoming a vampire.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Keith goes to the toilet and awkwardly watches a man called Vlad with little bite marks on his back, who then watches him, all whilst he's peeing in a urinal with Leonard gives great head written above it.
Leonard,
Okay.
yes.
Concerned about AJ, Keith gets help from a Madonna-looking waitress named Amaretto, who keeps insisting that she knows him to his confusion.
She's obsessed with the idea that they know each other, and he has absolutely no recollection of her whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem interested in trying to necessarily figure out how they know each other. Potentially because he's not interested.
Yeah, it definitely comes across like that, because she is constantly trying to get him to remember, but he's just like, no, I'm not having it. Where's my man? They search the neighborhood, and Keith is separated from her whilst trying to escape from both Snow and the gang and other local vampires, including a little girl who kills another vampire. There's always a vampire child in these films.
Yeah, it's a little random. I don't really get why the vampire child exists apart from Vampire Kid. Ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'd take Vampire Kid over the little Victorian ghost girl.
Trope.
Yeah.
Katrina tears out the heart of Seko.
She does.
So Seko's job was to bring Katrina loners and transients to feast on, not those with friends nearby. So when AJ had gone in by himself, Seko thought that he was by himself. And she believed that AJ, because he was so young and attractive, was a real gift.
Yeah.
to Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
But turns out he had friends who were
Yeah.
going to cause mischief.
Yes. And whilst hiding in a dumpster, Keith finds AJ's discarded body, but when he calls the cops and returns to the club to accuse the owners, the vampires have preempted him by bringing the undead AJ back.
Yeah, so we have this. So before this moment, they believe that AJ has gone off with Candy. And so they go to her apartment buildings. This is Amaretto and Keith. They go to her apartment building, which, like the strip club, feels off to Keith. So this is the part that's very after hours. Is this before or after hours? I think it's after hours.
Yes, I think this must have been after
It's
hours.
giving that. It's giving that energy.
The whole film is very after hours.
And he sort of loses it a little bit with Amaretto, because she accuses him of being a bit testy. And he says, "Testy, you want to know why I'm testy? I'll tell you why I'm testy. Today I was nearly hung. I got into a fight with a psychotic albino. I met a human pincushion in the bathroom. I ate a cockroach. My best friend disappears. And then I'm nearly assassinated by a runaway elevator. I've had a bad day."
It's genuinely the first time I ever went to a gay bar.
Yeah.
All that happened to me. This was a year after hours.
The year after.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense.
Yeah. Amaretto leaves him after he asks where a girl like Candy would take AJ,
Mm-hmm.
to which she obviously believes he means a stripper like Candy.
Yeah. Speaking
And
of Judge Judy,
he needs to learn to respect women.
yeah, he's very Judgment Judy and Bitter Betty.
But I mean, that's the energy you get. AJ and Keith are almost like Rope.
Yeah.
The two gay guys from Rope, like that judgment.
Yeah, makes sense.
Judgment Judy and Better Buddies.
AJ confesses to Keith that he is now a vampire, and after realizing that Keith will not kill him and is willing to die for him, come on. AJ drives a piece of broken furniture through his own heart, and he says, "I love you, Keith, but all I can see now is food, and I'm starving."
You carry my next meal around with you in your veins.
Yeah. So, Keith...
around this time as well. So this is when the vampire strippers come to life as well.
Yes.
So it all sort of goes to shit from this point. So AJ sacrifices himself for true love. And Keith kills a vampire stripper with a high-heeled shoe. And this is Dominique, she's quite a well-built stripper. Yeah. And I love the different sort of body types from strippers. And I love the diversity in the women who are seen as sexual and attractive and beautiful. There's a diversity to them. And
not something you see often.
No, not at all. You know, Grace Jones as a androgynous black woman is seen as the hottest and sexiest woman. It's incredible. And then you have someone like Dominique, she's very built, almost well, I say almost, not almost, she's quite muscular. And she's got bondage gear on, she's got silver pasties over her nipples. She's now full vampire, and it's super cunty, and I love it. You don't get this shit in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No.
I wish it... Well, I love Buffy, but...
Let's have a rewatch and say that. It's been many years.
You don't get vampire strippers. I love it. It looks so good.
It does. Keith, Amaretto, and Duncan flee the club, and their car is rammed by vehicles driven by vampires. After escaping, they realise that Duncan has become a vampire, and they abandon him, and he gets a car explosion. So it's a shame he died, but at least he got an exploding car.
He did. I mean, what an exciting way to go.
I know. We do love an explosion. A random explosion that doesn't need to happen.
Bless him, though. I do feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I like the bit around this point as well, where Keith tries to warn the patrons at the strip club that it's run by vampires.
Yeah.
And one of the random patrons off screen goes, "It doesn't make them bad people." And this is
That's
the quote
what-
earlier where
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay.
Mhm.
This I know. This is the allegory
Yeah.
we're getting here. It
Yeah, it
doesn't make them
definitely-
bad people."
Yeah.
I mean, turns out it kind of does.
I mean, it does. Depending on how you look at.
Spoiler alert: Keith kills them all.
Yeah.
But
When he discovers that he's heterosexual.
yeah, maybe Keith's not the good guy in this.
Well, whilst attempting to escape through the sewers, Amaretto tells Keith that her real name is Allison, and she knows him from a game of spin the bottle in 5th grade.
Yeah, so they've set everywhere on fire, and poor Duncan's died, and now he finally, I don't think he remembers still, even after. But apparently he saved her from a terrible kiss.
Yeah.
He knocked the spin the bottle further, so it landed on him, and they shared a nice kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. She may have just got the wrong guy. I mean,
yeah. How funny would it be if it was just no, because AJ recognizes it, doesn't he?
while they flee through the sewers, they discover and burn a nest of vampires, but Allison is grabbed and held hostage by Katrina. She's back after disappearing for far too long.
Yeah, we haven't really. I mean, in terms of us speaking about it, it hasn't been that long. But in terms of the film,
Yeah.
it's quite a lengthy time in between Katrina and Katrina.
Yeah.
And she's sorely missed, I have to say. I'm glad to see her back. Because you don't even get, so you get in lots of films, you sort of get cutaways to the antagonist, the bad guy, and they're seething here or they're doing something.
Yeah.
But after she kills Seko, it's nothing.
No.
And then she just appears in the sewer.
Yeah.
It just kind of annoys me.
It would be great to have more of her. But then I kind of ask whether the impact would be as big as it was.
I suppose she would have to talk at some point, or it would be awkward because everyone around her doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
Like this is everyone talks a lot in this film, and it would probably be a bit strange if she was in it more, just not talking.
Yeah. I want more Grace Jones, but at the same time, it's memorable because her limited amount of scenes are all individually memorable.
Yeah, true.
Like even her death scene now, after an arrow to the face and a pipe impaling her through the chest failed to stop Katrina, Keith kills her by shooting arrows through a covered grating, allowing in sunlight which destroys her. And it's a great death scene with some great practical effects.
Yeah, and the regular vampire rules apply here.
Yes, they do. Before they can escape to the surface, they're trapped by Vlad, Katrina's vampire consort, until Vlad is staked from behind by revived AJ, who sheepishly notes that the stake he tried to kill himself with turned out to be
Formica.
It did.
Formica being a type of plastic.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was very popular in the 80s. I did have to Google it.
I've never heard of it.
he's literally like, it's Formica. I'm like, oh, okay. What does that mean? I do find it weird that Vlad appears after Katrina. I don't know. I suppose I hate if Katrina is the final boss. She needs to be the final boss. None of this Vlad random stuff. Like it needs to be Katrina.
Yeah. But yeah, so the queers are defeated.
The queers are defeated, but AJ's a friendly queer.
Yes.
Who's now stuck in the sewer.
Yeah. But that's, he's like, you can survive, but don't let anyone see you.
But he's not allowed out in daylight.
No. Keith and Allison climb to the surface daylight, and a rainbow appears. AJ remains in the sewers, making plans for how he can remain roommates with Keith by going to night school or working a job on a graveyard shift. And Keith and Allison kiss.
Yeah, and this is where the gay allegory maybe falters a little bit.
Yeah.
because it would be a bit sad if it was one huge gay allegory and AJ's just sort of left. Just sort of like, okay, and Keith just sort of leaves him behind for
we get a rainbow,
the love of a good woman. I mean,
Freddy's revenge, anyone?
It's giving Freddy's revenge in that sense. So maybe that is what they were going for.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, gay or not, that is Vamp.
That is Vamp.
And I think it's such a fun time, fun horror comedy, that it's just such a great film to rewatch. It's just a breeze. Just plonk it on and you don't have to think too much. You just get slayed.
Yeah. It's a great film. It has some very memorable scenes, as we've discussed. I think sometimes the capers around the city that don't really go anywhere, they can be a little boring. Not gonna lie, it's certainly not like After Hours in that sense, but it has so much that makes it stick out.
Yeah,
there's so much that has stood the test of time that I would recommend watching.
Yeah,
and I'm not surprised that it's become a cult classic.
No. Well, let's give it some awards. Biggest queen, it's got to be Katrina.
It's Katrina.
Dee Dee Pfeiffer did a good job and all, but Katrina.
No.
Biggest gasp, Katrina's big reveal under the red dress.
Definitely, yeah, biggest gasp, Katrina.
Best dialogue, I have builder of major erections, our construction engineer, hard-hatted Hannah.
Yes, I agree.
And that's camp, it's Katrina's big dance.
Yeah, I went with vampire strippers, serving cunt and camp.
Yes. Ratings, I give it 8 very new cunty performances out of 10.
Ooh, I give it 7 major erections out of 10.
Thank you. Masterpiece, trash to beach, trash, basic or a camp whole bunch of fun. I think it's a camp whole bunch of fun.
I also think it's a vamp old bunch of fun.
Thank you. Available on DVD, Blu-ray, video on demand, Amazon Prime, and Arrow Player. And I've just changed my. If you enjoyed this,
no way.
If you enjoy this, check out After Hours, where the capers around the city do go somewhere.
Yes. If you enjoyed this, check out Fright Nights.
We are Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. I'm Delight Gaz92 on Letterboxd, Gazmo205 on Instagram, and GazCruise92 on Twitter.
I am Chris Barker823 on Instagram and Letterboxd.
It's the week of Gasp. If you're listening to this on the day of release, it's the week of Gasp. Our horror film festival dedicated entirely to minority filmmakers, taking place at Cultplex in Manchester this weekend, the 21st to the 23rd. Go social media, Gasp Horror Fest, last few passes remaining. Get your tickets.
Yeah, just a handful left. So if you're listening to this before Friday, get your weekend passes.
Come say hi. Chris will be on the door waiting to have a chat with you.
Talk to me about major erections.
Yes. Give us a rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes like a phone nothing else. Next week, we are concluding Pride Month with an episode on Friday because Gasp. And we're going to be busy.
Yeah.
So we'll be releasing it on Friday. We won't be delaying it last minute. We are telling you now it'll be out on Friday. And it is another adaptation versus adaptation. And this time we are discussing both adaptations of Taichi Yamada's Strangers. Yes, that includes The Discarnate and, of course, this year's All of Us Strangers. Expect tears. Bring your tissues.
One very, very serious film and
Yes.
one serious film.
So we'll be back on Friday next week.
Bye.